Good morning and welcome to PDK. We'll be talking about the Red Locks today. And if you don't know me, I am Gus. I'm the field training specialist. If you're expecting Cole, I apologize. I will give him all of your angry messages. But remember, we are on a 20-second delay with these live trainings. And we'll just get right into those Red Locks. All right, so today we will be talking about those Red Locks, a couple of new things that we'll be coming out with. Well, we have already come out with. Pretty exciting stuff. Today we'll be talking about network and PoE and HubNet. We will not be talking about WiMAC, but we just want to remind you guys that is a nice little communication method that we do have. A HubNet is how we speak from our Red Locks to our hubs, and then Hub will utilize network and PoE to talk back to our head-end unit to make sure to get all of that programming that you set up on PDK.io. All right, and we will be talking about mobile and Bluetooth, credential types, different cards, fobs, stickers, and wristbands, whether it be high security or regular procs. Those are all things that our Red Locks will utilize. All right, and when it comes to wireless locks, there are many different ones out there, a whole different types of them, but we wanted to throw our hat in the ring and kind of come out competitive with our Red Locks. So with different locks, there are a bunch of different types of features and functionalities when it comes to communication types, battery lives, features, and builds. Some will be always online, some will come online, and some will only come online when connected to it. So a bunch of different ones. So we'll be talking specifically on how we differ from other locks out there. But we have found it that these Red Locks, they are awesome. Great for different types of applications. You can see here anything from education, multi-dwelling units, warehouse, retail, whatever your customers may need and whatever you think is best for your installations. All right, and these are the big values of our Red Locks. So we've seen, huge customer experience, a seamless, intuitive customer experience, whether it be monitoring things and making sure that things are going smoothly for your customers, or giving them the ability to do that, and always being proactive of that customer experience and customer support for them. Our locks, they are always online, so you always get real-time updates, changes, commands, auditing. You can see everything with those locks online as long as they have that connectivity to a Red Hub as well as the internet. Operational efficiency, so this will reduce the management requirements for keys, giving them even more access to Bluetooth credentials, mobile credentials, fobs, red cards, so on and so forth. It is a little bit lower cost when it comes to the installation of these, since it being wireless, you don't have to pull a bunch of different wires to the door, and the different wiring. With PoE, you only need a Cat5 or just an Ethernet going out to the hub to then connects to a Red wireless locks. Scalability is huge. Whatever your customer needs, if they just want to wet their feet a little bit, you can install a few locks, and then from there in the future, if they want to scale it up even more, all you have to do is just make sure you have that hub, and then put on a lock. With our hubs, up to 16 locks can be on a single hub. We'll talk about that in a little bit, but scalability is there for multiple doors if your customer needs it. And real-time auditing, when it comes to our locks, they are real-time monitoring management. You can see their information on PDK.io or on our app. It's great. So that always online and that auditing kind of combos to a great thing for your customers and for yourself. And when it comes to the wireless locks, talked about the installation type and lowering the costs there. We'll go ahead and show you a nice little video prepped of how the installation process begins.
ProdataKey's Red Wireless Lock Set allows you to easily install PDK hardware in spaces that are typically hard to reach and save money on costly wire runs. Whether you are installing a red cylindrical lock or a red deadbolt, you do need to prepare your door properly before installation. So let's take a look at what your door prep should look like. Your door should be prepped for a 2 3/8 to 2 3/4 inch back set with a 2 1/8 inch through hole for the lock body. The latch bolt prep should be 1 1/8 inch wide by 2 1/4 inch tall with a 7/8 inch through hole. Alternatively, you can have a 1 inch through hole. The latch bolt prep should be 5 32 inch deep on the edge of the door, and you should have 2 pilot holes, 1 5/8 inch apart. These should be roughly 1/8 of an inch in diameter and 3/4 of an inch deep. When installing a red cylindrical lock, additional prep is needed on the inside of the door. You will need to create 2 notches that are approximately 2 7/16 inches apart, 1/8 of an inch wide, and 5 32 of an inch deep. Now that you've prepped your door, you're ready to install your red cylindrical lock or red deadbolt.
All right, so that was kind of the process of getting things started. And for me, I've installed a number of these. That is the most difficult part, is coring the door. The red locks themselves, I find it pretty easy. You have to let us know if you have done some. Let us know in the comments, or in the future if you have any suggestions. Definitely leave in the comments or reach out to us. We'd love to hear that feedback. But this is the topography of a installation with just the red wireless locks. This can differ, right? This is just an example of how the red wireless locks speaks back to PDK-IO. So you have the PDK-IO icon back up there on the top left. That signifies the cloud, which then speaks to our head-end unit, whether it be an RCNE, RCNEW, or the rack-mounted cloud node. From there, on the same local area network, make sure that the red hub right there in the middle is connected to the same local area network as a red cloud node, and it will speak to or gather all the information from PDK-IO. And then at that point, that's where the wireless really kicks in, comes into play from that red hub to either red cylindrical or red deadbolt for right now. That will speak wirelessly throughout the site. And so you have kind of topography there. If you have any questions on this or any concerns, definitely reach out. But want to talk about that, I'll talk about it a little bit later. But the wireless gateway, it speaks wireless to the locks, but it does need to be hardwired in to talk to the cloud node. And for every site, you will still need a cloud node. You can't just have a red hub and the red locks. All right, and this is what they look like a little bit up closer of the escutcheon. So on the left, you have the deadbolt. On the right, it's cylindrical, and you see the different color variations there. You have the cylindrical in the matte black, the deadbolt in the satin chrome. These are the default colorways that they come in. If you need a type of variation, that can be custom ordered, and I'll talk about that in a little bit. But this is the escutcheon. You can see there, it comes with a pin pad, and then I'll talk about the features in a little bit. But right now we're gonna get into the guts of it all, a little bit different ways of installing them. So right now we're gonna take a quick look at the installation of the deadbolt.
The PDK Red Wireless Deadbolt is the ideal solution for multifamily residential facilities. Let's take a look at how to install a red deadbolt. To complete this installation, you will need 2 tools, a Phillips #1 screwdriver and a #2 screwdriver. It is very important to not use any power tools during the installation of these locks. Inside the packaging for your red deadbolt, you are going to find the following: installation instructions, as well as a door template for the door prep. You will find the outside escutcheon, the inside escutcheon, and you will have an accessory box with many more items. The accessory box will include 4 AA batteries, an adjustable deadbolt latch, a dust cover, a strike plate, and a set of keys. Now, it will also contain a hardware kit, and that hardware kit is going to contain the smaller items, such as the strike reinforcement plate and several screws, including combo screws, long flathead screws, long panhead screws, and finally, small panhead screws. To begin, make sure that the door is prepped correctly. You can refer to the door prep video if you have any questions on how to prepare your door. To begin the installation, insert the latch bolt, making sure that the crosshairs are down. Secure the latch box in place with the provided combo screws. To allow for any micro adjustments that may be needed later, make sure to only tighten these screws about 80% of the way. Let's move on to installing the outside escutcheon. Before doing so, make sure that the tailpiece, this metal piece in here, is in the proper orientation. For right-hand doors, twist it counterclockwise, and for left-hand doors, twist it clockwise. Next, carefully feed your control cable underneath the deadbolt. Make sure your tailpiece simultaneously sits vertically within the crosshairs.
There we go.
Let's move on to installing the outside escutcheon. Before doing so, make sure that the tailpiece is in the proper orientation. For right-hand doors, twist it counterclockwise, and for left-hand doors, twist it clockwise. Next, carefully feed your control cable underneath the deadbolt. Make sure your tailpiece sits vertically within the crosshairs. Next, take the mounting plate off of the inside escutcheon and feed your wire through the hole, making sure it aligns properly with the tailpiece. It's important to verify that the through holes are properly aligned with the deadbolt latch and the threaded holes on the outside escutcheon. Next, secure the outside escutcheon to the mounting plate using the two long panhead screws provided, again using the Phillips No. 2 screwdriver. I reiterate, make sure that you are not using any power tools when installing the locks. Now we can grab our key, insert it into the keyhole on the outside escutcheon, and test the action of the deadbolt. If you do not have a smooth action or if there is any binding, back off the through bolt slightly to fine-tune your adjustments. Next, remove the battery cover from the inside escutcheon and set it aside, and grab the control cable and connect it to the white connector on the control board of the inside escutcheon. With that cable secured in place, route the cable through the cable guide at the bottom of the bracket. Ensure that your thumb turn is pointing away from the deadbolt latch or towards the hinge. Using the small panhead screws and a Phillips No. 2 screwdriver, secure the inside escutcheon to the mounting plate. Now insert your 4 AA batteries and reattach the battery cover. With everything installed, you can now fully secure the latch bolt in place. Finally, let's do a test to make sure that everything is moving the way it should. Test the thumb turn and the key, ensuring that the movement is smooth and has no friction. And that's it. With your installation complete, you can now move on to configuring your device in PDK.io.
All right, so that was cool with our installation of our deadbolt. And then Russell, thanks so much for your question. I'll be answering those questions at the end, Q&A, so keep bringing them in so we can have that at the end. But with that deadbolt, I find it's to be the easiest ones of our installations. I love installing that deadbolt. I've installed plenty of them so far and test them often in the office. So it's a good one. We're gonna start talking about the guts of the system and then we'll look at the cylindrical one. So with the guts of the system, it comes with latch bolt and deadbolt for these two. For our red locks, latch bolt for the cylindrical, deadbolt, of course, for our deadbolt. Different locking formats, and the mounting plates, as you saw in the video, those little white rectangles will also carry the information of each of the red locks. So you'll have the MAC address and all the information needed for those. There are different guides there, and also the plastic for protecting the door. And the mounting screws differ from each one. You have different screws. We saw what comes into and what is needed for the deadbolt. We'll see in a little bit what's needed for the cylindrical ones. And the accessories, they each come with a set of keys. They will come with the Energizer AA batteries included, 4 of them. And then a big difference is that release pin, the release pick for the cylindrical only, and how that is the big difference there. And now we'll go to the cylindrical video, show you the big differences between the two and how that cylindrical pick is used.
The PDK Red wireless cylindrical lock is the ideal solution for educational facilities, government buildings, and countless kinds of commercial spaces. Let's take a look at how to install a red cylindrical lock. To complete this installation, you will need 2 tools, a Phillips number 1 and number 2 screwdriver. It is very important not to use any power tools during the installation of these locks. Inside the packaging for your red cylindrical lock, you are going to find the following: installation instructions and a template for the door prep. You will also have an accessory kit and the lock body itself. Inside the accessory kit, you are going to find the following pieces of equipment: the latch bolt, 4 AA batteries, a strike plate, a pair of keys, and the pick. The necessary screws for installation will also be included in many shapes and sizes. Before installing the red cylindrical lock, you will need to determine the handing. Let's take a look at what you need to do in order to rehand the lock. First, remove the layer and inside escutcheon. Next, insert the key into the keyway and turn it 45 degrees. This will allow you to take the pick, insert it into the small hole on the side of the lever, and push in to release the lever. Next, remove the tape and set it to the side. Remove the chassis and rotate it 180 degrees, like so, making sure the control cable is feeding through properly through one of these inserts here. Then take the tape and secure the control cable back onto the chassis. Then we can reassemble the outside escutcheon. Start by inserting the spacer and grab your lever and align the hole with the button of the chassis. Now, with the inserted key at 45 degrees, insert the lever to the escutcheon and push until you hear it click. Once you remove the key, you've finished rehanding your lock. Now we can take a look at actually installing our lock. Before we begin, make sure that the door is prepped correctly. You can refer to the door prep video if you have any questions on how to prepare your door. To begin, insert the latch bolt. Make sure that the beveled side is facing the strike. Use the provided combo screws and Phillips number 2 screwdriver to secure the latch bolt in place. To allow for any micro adjustments that may be needed later, make sure to only tighten the screws about 80% of the way. Again, make sure you are not using any power tools when installing the locks. Once you have installed your latch, take your outside escutcheon and carefully feed the wires through the hole. Be sure to align the latch retractor with the latch bolt. There should be a snug fit. Once that outside escutcheon is in place, we need to mount it using the mounting plate. First, feed the control cable through the bigger of the cutouts on the bracket. Feed the motor harness, the smaller of the wires, through either of the smaller cutouts on the bracket. Using the provided Phillips flathead screws for your Phillips number 2 screwdriver, secure the mounting plate. Once done, we will need to secure the inside escutcheon to the mounting plate. Begin by removing the battery cover and setting it aside. Grab the motor harness and attach it to the black connector on your board and connect the control cable to the tan connector. Next, slide the inside escutcheon onto the chassis, making sure not to pinch any wires. Once in place, secure using the pan head Phillips screws and a Phillips #1 screwdriver. Then insert your spacer and insert your lever pushing until it clicks. With the inside lever attached to the chassis, make sure that the latch bolt is retracting properly. Then insert 4 AA batteries into the battery holder and reattach the battery cover. With everything installed, you can now fully tighten the latch box in place. And that's it. With your installation complete, you can now move on to configuring your device in PDK.io.
All right, so that is the big difference between the cylindrical and the deadbolt. The installation guides there, those videos will be available to watch later on. As you're out in the field and you need some extra help, you can refer to the videos, refer to the guide, or even contact our tech support. All three, awesome, and we'll be able to help you installing those. With our cylindrical, it's a little bit different. I mean, you can rehand it and then you can adjust the length, but remember, you always need that pick in order to release the lever. I always keep mine on my keys just in case if I ever need it, but every lever system will come with or cylindrical system will come with one of those picks. And now you saw the difference between the two. So let's go ahead and kind of finish off talking about these red locks and then move on to our red hubs. So the additional screws that come with it for mounting all the strike plates to the door frame, and then also the latch bolt and deadbolt to the door leaf itself. And then comes with a different set of strikes, whether it be for the cylindrical or for the deadbolt. You have a couple of different sets as well as a dust cover for the deadbolt. This is the interior board, chassis and the tailpiece. On your left, you have the inside end of the deadbolt, where you have the little controller board as well as some wiring. In the middle is also the next part of the deadbolt, where you would only connect that single wire and make sure that the crosshairs and the deadbolt going into the crosshairs is correct. Always refer back to the guide just to make sure if you ever forget, so that you do get the orientation correct. The deadbolt can be calibrated in a couple different ways that will be shown in your instructions if you need it calibrated from left to right or right to left. And then lastly, the cylindrical over there on the right side, on one side comes with both wires that connects to the other side of the controller, kind of makes it as a whole. And then that one also talked about it. It can be rehanded, so you don't need to get a specific right-handed cylindrical or left-handed cylindrical. You'll just need that pick and follow the instructions on the manual to rehand it if needed. All right, and then kind of towards the tail end of the red locks. So the red lock is a broad naming scheme for both the cylindrical and the deadbolt. We will be coming out with a little bit more like an interlocking system later on, already on our live coaching session schedule. And then we have our red locks. All of them will be wireless communicated. Our electronic handset or cylindrical is driven by a solenoid, whereas the deadbolt is driven by an electric motor. Each version of the lock comes stocked with the satin chrome and the flat black. If you need anything outside of those two colors, you talk to your sales rep to get a custom order SKU for distribution. All right, and these are the main functionalities of it. Out of the box, you'll get prox, smart card, Bluetooth, mobile, and PIN. If you do need to limit those, that can be done on PDK.io. But out of the box, the capabilities are there. And with the cylindrical, the default configuration is a conventional cylinder, Schlage C keyway, 6-pin configuration, and 2 keys provided. As I said before, just with the color as well as that configuration for a cylinder, if you need anything else, talk to your sales rep about doing a custom order for your customer and see all the different variations that we have for that. All right, and then these are rated IP65. They utilize 4 AA batteries, and we're seeing about an average year battery life for that. Functionality, it functions up to 150 degrees Fahrenheit as well as -4 degrees Fahrenheit. And then it is an ANSI grade 2 hardware right now, so we have rated it for 150,000 cycles for the deadbolt and 400,000 cycles for cylindrical. And I did see your question there, Russell, and right now it is grade 2. Grade 1 is somewhat in the works. I'll talk a little bit more about that. But that's pretty much the answer. And these have a UL 10C fire rating of 20 minutes, so it'll withstand those extreme temperatures environments for that long. All right, so that is the red wireless lock sets. And now how does that connect to PDK IO? And that comes through the red hub. So these red hubs will be kind of the central hub for those red locks. With the red locks, it'll communicate wirelessly to the red hubs. Red hub will communicate back to the head-end unit that you will have installed, and then that is what connects back to the cloud and makes the system work, just like back to that topography. But each lock will wirelessly connect with that red hub, and it will support up to 16 locks. So unlike other manufacturers, our locks are not are locked to a hub. So if for some reason you have a site that has 8 doors and 2 hubs kind of there, if one hub goes down and a red lock was connected to that hub that went down, it'll start looking if it is within range of that second hub. And so you don't have to worry about it being locked to a hub and it being needing that connection. If there's only one hub, it'll go down, and talk about it in a couple of bullet points there, but these do utilize controller continuity. And so if a hub goes down for any reason, or if connection is lost at the site to the internet, the locks do have continuity and will continue to work, and your customers may not see any type of drop-in functionality. So that'll be something that you'll need to monitor and make sure that everything's looking good, but it does have continuity. And with those red hubs, they do have about 100 feet line of sight average. So, and they use that hubnet I talked about before. That is proprietary Bluetooth technology that we have developed to have that communication. All right, and that hub, it does utilize PoE for power. If PoE does not, cannot be utilized at the site, there is an input of 12 to 24 volts DC at 25 to 50 milliamps, but Ethernet is still required. So if you can't get PoE, you will still need a Ethernet cable to make sure it's connected to the local area network. Each hub will automatically discover in configuration PDK IO on IPv6. If your site does need any other type of configuration, that is possible through the connections tab. But for right now, discovery, it'll pop up. Once a hub is discovered and added to a system, any red lock within range will start popping up in that discovery. If a hub is not on a site, you won't see the red locks. So make sure you discover the hub first before making sure that the red locks come online. And then in PDK IO, you can check the connection for the strength and battery percentage. There you can see it through HubNet, which can be seen through System Health. All right. And then I'll go to the questions now. We have a question and answer. So remember, I am on a 20-second delay. So if you ask a question, I might be a little bit delayed for me to answer that. But Russell, yeah, so there is plans for grade 1 right now. We're looking into it. There isn't a timeline. So once there is, we'll let you know. Talk to your sales rep, make sure you're in the loop for that one, and they'll be able to give you a better timeline rather than waiting for these live sessions. But as of right now, today, it's in the works. Just don't have a deadline. Yep. So yeah, perfectly. So HOA, pull gates, and stuff like that. Yeah, right now we don't advise putting any of our red locks on those because with our deadbolt, for instance, only the outside is rated IP65. The cylindrical, there are talks about both sides being that IP65, but right now we just suggest the outside facing one is the IP65, weather rated, so the battery side should not be exposed to the elements quite yet. So we are talking about, looking into that. So for your instance, HOAs, things like that, to kind of have that solution rather than having to run wire all the way out there. So definitely. And then any other questions? If you do happen to have any other questions, definitely ask right now. I may be able to get to it. If not, if the live ends before then, leave it down in the comments. We do monitor those and we always make sure to answer those. Or if you have any other questions, feel free to reach out to your sales rep or even tech support. We'll be able to help you out. All right. Yep. I think that's it. So we are good to go. Again, if you have any questions, let us know. I'm Gus. I'm the field training specialist. So once you see me out on the field, definitely come say hi. Cole will be back in the studio for the next one, and we're excited for these red locks. Always give us a call. Let us know what you think about the red locks. Also leave any comments for those red locks as you work on them out in the field. All right.